Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Research Podcast. I'm your host, Russ Reynolds. We got a good show tonight. Just bear with me. My voice is probably going to get crackly. I've been sick. So, my guest tonight, she is based out of Texas. She goes by the name of Vixen Paranormal. She investigates a lot with my buddy Jimmy from Outlaw Paranormal. And she does some great work in the field. I've watched several of her lives on TikTok, and without further ado, we're not going to waste anybody's time. Let's bring her on. Here's Vixen Paranormal.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Vixen. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Good. Trying to get over this cold.
I can hear in your voice it's a little tickly.
Yep. So tell my audience a little bit about yourselves. I know I've got some followers that aren't familiar with you.
I am a mom of 5. One of those being chosen. It's my nephew. I've had him for a long time. I'm in the medical field, have been for almost 20 years. I do a little bit of everything from cosmetology to tattoos to paranormal. Just always busy. As busy as I can be. Why is that? It showed my sound went out.
No, I can still hear you.
I have a question for you, though. That's something we didn't cover. How long have you been doing this?
31 years.
No, the podcast.
Podcast? Over a year now.
Nice. I know I went through a binge, I would say, the other night, just watching and watching and watching.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It's been September hit a year for me on the network.
That is awesome.
We got a lot of people starting to pop in. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the chat.
Hi, Kevin. Shireen. Soul Sisters. I've got a little thing I've been jotting down a bunch of paracons that I have applied to that's here in Texas. So I think the furthest one is New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Check into the Rock Island Paracon in Illinois in October.
Rock Island?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think that's the one you told me about, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Get a hold of them soon because they're booking up quick. They've only got a few spots left, from what I heard.
Yeah, I'll get on that because I've got a list here. I do everything solo. So other than Jimmy, which Jimmy and I was actually talking earlier, I want to do a tri-state run. And I guess it would be more quad state because it would be Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia.
Right. Yeah, because you're like Midwest like I am, South Midwest anyways.
Yeah, well, I was raised in Eastern Kentucky. So I actually just only moved out here with my husband in 2017. So Texas is still new to me other than the San Antonio area. This is not my forte in Texas. I do have I had a few people reach out to me yesterday that are wanting to start some home investigations.
Awesome. They're tricky.
Go ahead.
Home investigations are a little tricky to do. A lot more different energy involved in it. And
Well,
you got to know what you're walking into.
about it. I'm not 100% because the main one is a guy that is apparently have a what he thinks to be a jealous entity in his daughter's room. Um, and I just, yeah, this is my
Yeah,
husband.
we do a lot of home investigation. That's one of
I
our
actually checked out your website. You do everything for free as far as cleansing, and that is amazing.
yeah.
You
We
don't
even
do
cleanse.
that very often no more.
Yeah, we cleanse for free too.
Yeah, that is, like I said, you don't see it. You don't.
No, not anymore.
Everyone wants to charge for it.
Yeah, yeah. They either charge the investigator, they charge the cleanse, or not
I,
us. We will never charge anybody.
I couldn't imagine charging to give someone's piece back to them. I couldn't do it. I
And,
couldn't imagine charging just to investigate.
and we travel too. We don't just stay in Missouri. We go out of state.
So someone messaged needing you to go
Yep.
to Tennessee, you'll go. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, see, you don't, everyone either wants um, traveling fees and place to stay and stuff like that. So, yeah, you don't see that often. So, I commend you for that one.
So I was watching your live the other night when you guys were at the Glen House. That's
The Thomas House,
yeah, the Thomas House there. Yeah, it was pretty good work you guys do.
we got some very undeniable evidence that night. Some absolutely terrifying evidence that night. Had I seen that one, I've never ran from an investigation, never. But had I seen that in real time, I probably would have booked it. I would have been gone, like just straight up out of there. Because I posted it and I give everyone saying, "Well, there's a window there. There's a window there," and I'm like,
Right.
"No, there's windows there, but they got mini blinds and we're on the second floor. So unless, I mean, that's even scarier. If someone's climbing the building, we got a problem."
Yeah.
So
And it's not uncommon for that to catch something like that up on the second floor in a window.
well, it's mini blind and then there's curtains over it. And I had Jimmy actually replicate it several times. Actually, I got it on video, and it looks nothing like a human walking by or a human ducking down and popping up. Nothing of the sort. And when I watched the footage back, we're not even there. Looked at it in person and tried to debunk it. Well, thank you, because I tried to debunk it 100 times, and I can't. Um, yeah, we wasn't there. We came back like 3 or 4 minutes later, picking up equipment.
Mhm.
So you can also hear someone saying Sarah's name too. And I first thought it was Jimmy, and it's not. So not sure what that conversation was about, but I would have loved to have heard all of it.
Right. Well, we caught something similar to that at the Jesse James farmhouse here in Kearney, Missouri, and it was Jesse's mother in 1800s period clothing. She showed up in the window.
Oh wow.
So this was a tour guide that caught that and sent it to us. So we went there on tour just to try to debunk it, figuring there was a picture reflecting through the window. There was nothing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we decided to take a picture of us in front of that same window, and a cowboy hat shows up in
Oh,
between us.
nice. Yeah. See, this was a picture frame. It wasn't even a window. The windows were on complete opposite side of the room. I think I would have ran from the cowboy hat too. I would have said,
And,
no.
and then Jesse James showed up in the window.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we got a picture of Jesse and his mother and a little boy, which was his little brother that got killed there.
Oh. See, I think a lot of the Thomas house, which I spoke to David that day. I sat and talked to him from 4:30 that day until right before we went live. And the stories he told us was absolutely insane. Um, I think a lot of theirs is just they feel so comfortable with David and everyone still living there
Mhm.
and the human interaction every day that they're just there. They're just existing as if they would any other time. Is I mean, if you can walk by their rooms and see imprints on the bed, which we have many times, I mean, they're obviously comfortable. And the room I stayed in was David's grandmother's room. They still have her house shoes and house coats and
Mhm.
all of that still in the dresser. So it's nothing to walk in there and see the chandelier moving. And actually, I found, and I'm not sure how it got here, I found a piece of that chandelier today. I found one of the little diamond pieces, and I have no idea how it got here. But I found it.
Oh, wow.
So, not sure how the Thomas house came home with me, but it did. And it was random too, because I cleaned this room yesterday and it was in the floor when I was going to work this morning.
Maybe
But
Jimmy shoved it in your bag.
Jimmy, I could blame a lot of stuff on Jimmy. I was standing at the bed charging equipment. I have a little charge thing that holds like 8 chargers at once, and heard a knocking on the door. And I yelled, I said, "Hold on, I'll unlock it." So I walked over and I unlocked it. And without even thinking, I just walked away. I didn't even look to see if anyone was there. And nobody came in. So I went back and I was like, wait a minute, where the heck is Jimmy? So I go down there and he's getting out of the shower in his room to get dressed. And I'm like, what are you doing knocking? And he's like, I'm not knocking. What are you talking about? I've blamed a lot of stuff on Jimmy for the past week. But when we went to Waverly, I blamed a lot of stuff on him too, because we were standing in the hotel room and a little girl said something something to the effects of I just want to play with you. And I could have swore Jimmy had something Bluetooth hooked up in that room to scare us. And apparently he didn't. He was just off getting his grape juice or whatever he was getting. Jimmy is known to play some jokes, but I haven't yet to catch him up in one and it actually be him.
Right.
So I will eventually.
Yeah, that's always fun to play those little scary jokes. We did that at an event we were at. They had an 1800s children coffin, so we put a baby doll in there that reacts to motion, that cries.
Ooh.
So anybody that go look in the coffin, that baby would start crying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would have been in trouble.
So then we put a Bluetooth speaker in there, and we were playing this little girl off of YouTube, and these 2 ladies were standing there, and it says, "Don't turn around or I'm gonna kill you."
Oh,
And you hear the lady go, "That coffin's talking." The other one says, "Of course it is," and then they hightailed it out of
they
there.
bolted. So my husband, he's went on like 4 or 5 investigations with me. And he's now starting to actually talk to the spirits, which I find is freaking phenomenal. And they'll interact with him pretty well. But I'm waiting for the day that he goes and truly gets that one good scare.
Mhm.
Even he's 20 years military, so he's nothing scares me. But I've definitely the other night at the Thomas house, we were all standing in the hallway just talking and investigating. And I turned, and when I turned, there was this full body apparition of a man that absolutely just took my breath away. That's happened one other time that I can think of, but that was probably the closest I've ever been to booking it. Like, if you hear me go, "Oh, what was that?" I'm like, "Uh-oh." That was I don't know if the live caught it, but I know I caught it and it was absolutely something else. I think it's so let me ask you a question. Do you think that spirits only show themselves to the people they want?
Yep.
Yeah. See, I ran across a video I was watching earlier that was trying to convince everyone that there's no human spirits, that every spirit you encounter is a demon.
That's not true.
And I'm not sure how I feel about that one. I mean he was basing it more on Bible theory, I guess.
Mhm. Well, like your Baptist religion, they believe there's no regular spirits, everything is a demon to the Baptist.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I believe that. I don't
Oh,
think
no,
that. I mean, that would honestly be like telling me my son that passed away in 2011, if I ever connected with him, that was a demon. Yeah, I don't think I feel very good about calling all spirits that.
But yeah, I don't believe in that. I mean, I've researched it for so many years, and I've demons are very rare in this field. I mean, you're not gonna run into a demon every time you go out. Like a lot of these YouTubers are, oh, there's a demon. No.
Yeah, see, I've never felt that. I've never felt like every entity I run into is a bad entity. You have your little kids, and I have pictures galore of little kids at a tree here at one of my local cemeteries, which we're actually supposed to go to after this. Um, that I call my kids tree, and that's all you'll ever find around it is little kids.
Mm. But I mean, even like a regular house, a lot of times it's someone that once lived there and they're just protecting what's there. They don't realize they're dead. They think you're trespassing in their space. So when you trespass in somebody's space, what are they gonna wanna do? They're gonna wanna hurt you.
Yeah,
Then if they're negative when they were alive, they're gonna be negative when they're dead.
yeah. See, I've got some stuff that goes on here, which a lot of it has started since 52 of the dolls have came in. Um, but a lot of it's going back to the landowner
Mm.
because we just moved to a new subdivision, and they've only got 2 streets on our subdivision so far built, and everything is going back to the landowner. And I believe that's the issue there, is he's just upset that we're here. I don't believe it would be any different if it was the house next to us. He's still going to be upset.
Hey, Greg, welcome in. That's one of my fellow podcasters on the network.
I can't. um my little thing is blocked out on the corner, so it's only showing me half of the names.
Says hello, Russ and Sherry.
Did you see the doll that Jimmy gave me?
No, no.
My, he will not tell me her name. He said the only thing I can call her is Sissy. When I tell you this thing absolutely drove me nuts on my way home here. Well, there went a cat ball. She I have pictures of her appearing in my window and disappearing for hours on my trip home. So I called him and I'm like, look, I need a name or something to make her stop.
She is creepy. She's got that creepy vibe to her.
She's got like those, and I have this weird thing where I will flick the nose of all of my dolls right here on this shelf every night. I mean, we talk to them every single night. But when you flick hers, her eyes blink, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't keep that stuff in my house. I get rid of it.
um, I have my most used dolls, the one that we communicate with the most. They're all right here on this shelf, and then I mean they're all above me.
Jimmy said she's like a 1960s doll.
She is 1959, Jimmy, and she has a music box in her, which is where that. So we couldn't figure out. She actually says that she is a 27-inch Horseman, 19 something. When you look her up, she's a 1959, and she actually has that. She actually has a little hole in the back of her neck, and we couldn't figure out what it's for. It's for a pull string for a music box,
Okay.
which actually explains. So I have another little doll that goes with me everywhere, and I heard it playing on the way here. I had pulled into a Love's and was hearing some other kind of music. I don't know what kind of music it was. It was like you was opening a music box and closing it, but every time I turned the car off, it stopped. So I'm gonna assume that was Sissy because there was nothing else in my car to make a music box
Yeah,
sound.
it was probably drawing off the electricity in your car. It was giving
Well,
it.
I've got all of my dolls were with me that normally go, and there's 6, 7 that goes with me everywhere. Some of them's small, but there's 2 Ouija boards in my car. Everything I had at the Thomas house was there. So I'm sure they were pulling plenty of energy. But she is definitely causing some chaos. We'll put it that way. Hey, Shireen can have her. Shireen can have the doll. I have perfect dolls to give Shireen.
I just
Plenty.
I just got rid of a bunch of them in September. They're in the Warren's Occult Museum.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, you uh, was it you that told me you were Kenda, Lorraine, and them?
Yep.
I thought, yeah. I didn't want to misspeak on that, but I thought that's what you had said. That is
Mhm.
awesome.
Dad and I are related to them.
That's that's cool. So yeah, you've been into it for a long time then.
Yeah, it's in the bloodline.
Have you ever kept track of how many investigations you've done?
Yeah, I am well over probably 160 now.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
That's
that's
a lot of that's residential.
I could definitely use you at my house. Like they've got to the point where they like to lock my kids out when they come home from school.
Mm.
And like I said, I come in here every night and I talk to them. They have no reason to be like, "Hey, I want attention." There was a guy that done a TV show at the house where that dog come from. Yeah, Jimmy was also telling me about 2 people that had passed out by looking at the doll. No, he didn't tell me none of this until he gave me the doll.
Right.
He did say I was the only other person that has agreed to take her. She didn't really give me a choice. He didn't tell me he was bringing her. So I've never turned down a doll. I don't think I will anytime soon, but my husband does not like them.
I
That's for
don't
sure.
like I said, I don't keep them.
He says they've kind of got an unspoken agreement. If they don't mess with him, he doesn't use them for target practice. So that's
Hey,
that's their
Brandon,
agreement.
welcome in.
Yeah, they don't mess with him. Now they'll mess with the kids. I've had bowls slung at me. I've had instant coffee jars thrown out the pantry. They'll mess with the kids, and the kids hear a lot of it. They come in here 10 times a day. Did you holler at me? I swear I heard you holler at me. No, I didn't. And now it's got to where my 10-year-old is hearing me holler at her while she's at school. And the only spirit that emits to it is the clown. He's they're selling $10 photos of him on Etsy, just of his face. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, oh, damn, I have the whole doll. Like, like I don't know what's so special about him. I know he's a 1960s paper mache doll. That's all I know. They do think you're evil, Tim. Yeah.
like Brandon said, a mimic probably.
Yeah, that's about what I figured, but it didn't start. So this house was actually only built in 2023. So I think it has to come from the land or something I've brought into here, one of the two. Nobody ever stayed here long. The longest a tenant has been here is 3 months. So
Yeah, it's probably something connected with the land.
that's what I would think because the one time that my husband has been out of town while we've lived here, I saw if you can actually go back and research it and you can find the pictures, the landowner standing at the end of my bed when I walked into the room. So I'm thinking it's just him and he's mad. He doesn't want us here. This one, the clown. If you see lights, guys, it's because I'm touching him. He's got his little hangy thingy. I don't know. He's beat up. I got him at an antique store for $5, and they said no bringing him back. So he's mine.
It's like them 4 dolls we took out of a house. It was terrorizing a blind lady,
Oh,
and she could only see, like, bright lights and shapes, and that's about it.
that's and they were torturing her.
Yep.
That's not that's not very good. There's your light, buddy. He
Brand
won't tell me his name. That's the only thing that bothers me about him.
the tree in the back right of your property, the bigger one.
I don't have a tree. Well, okay, correction. I don't know if I do or not. I have cows out back. If that means anything. Um, I've never really looked out there. I will look out there though, Brandon.
But,
I
yeah, those dolls we got, they were bad. We did an Estes method with one of them at a Paracon the next day, and it actually made a whole room go dark.
I want to talk to this one. She's one of my black-eyed babies. She is stuck at the bottom for a reason. She's gonna stay back there until I have energetically enough time to deal with her. Mine, I wish, and I said this the other day, I wish when you bought dolls from like sage and sweetgrass, tree. I gotta find the tree first, Brandon. If I
Brandon
find it, I will do it.
common, so he's good at what he does.
Yeah, if I see the tree, we will do it. Thank you for turning your light on, Clem. Um, I wish they had when you got a doll from an antique store or the Goodwill or wherever, I wish they kept a list of who donated. That way you can then go back and be like, hey, I bought your doll, any information on it. That would be awesome. But unfortunately, they do not do that.
Yeah, that's where this lady picked hers up, was at a thrift store, and the one little doll, she it was only probably about this long. She calls it little Annabelle, and its eyes were gouged out of it. Yeah, about that size right there,
She actually lost her arm at the Thomas house the other day.
and her eyes were gouged out.
Yikes.
Well, we had her at the Paracon, and the one team ended up getting heart palpitations from it. She got near our table where we had them sitting on there, and then they turned their equipment on, and it was the one doll that was in the blue dress that you can see in the double Estes method they were doing with. She actually told that other team, beat him with a shovel. He lied.
Oh,
And that doll in the Estes method called my name several times, wanted me to bring it back where I got it from.
and you didn't take it home?
Nope.
See, I would have had to. That little doll, she kept telling me she was lonely. So I actually put her in bed with me one night. And then I took her to the cemetery the next day and forgot her for 2 nights sitting in the cemetery. So she may be mad at me. It'll be all right.
Well, I know these dolls were angry because I bound them to a case and couldn't move. They were encased in holy water, blessed salt.
Oh, see, now the only one that reacts to salt or the mention of salt is Evelyn, the little blue one that I want
Mm,
to get a little red tricycle for so I can like send her down the hallway of the Thomas house. Um, Now she will react if you threaten to put her in a salt circle. But as far as I am a huge believer in what's going to happen is going to happen. So like I don't say my prayers when I go into a place. I don't tell them that they can't follow me. There has been a few times where I've felt absolutely just heavy and I've been like, no, you need to stay here. You can't follow me. But I'm a firm believer in what's going to happen is going to happen. So
mhm.
it doesn't matter what words I say. And I mean, I could be wrong in believing that, and that's fine too. But no, she does not like being mentioned to be put in a salt circle at all. Oh, he was talking to you, Russell, about your tree, not mine.
Oh, my tree, I don't have a tree anymore in the backyard. I cut it down.
Oh,
It's gone.
He said bury you some sage there anyway.
Well, my house is haunted. The land that I live on is actually an old military town, so named after John C. Breckinridge from Kentucky.
Oh, nice.
So this whole town is haunted. The school in town's haunted.
So, do you think that because I'm a huge believer that it does no, they did not. Um it doesn't matter how do you put it? It doesn't matter if you tell them to stay or not. Do you think that there's a chance they're going to follow you anyway?
They can. That's why we cleanse ourselves before we leave. We,
Yeah, I have a friend that likes to do cleansing work on me without telling me,
yep.
and then I'll find out later. What's your major malfunction? Give me a light.
But yeah, we do cleansings on ourselves, our vehicles, our equipment.
You don't want no hitchhikers?
Nope. Especially if I'm dealing with something dark, I don't want that following
That's
me.
what I've been calling them lately is hitchhikers. We actually was in here last night and we were talking about some nightmares that I've been having, which is very unusual. I'm not a person that dreams a whole lot. Um Same nightmare, same general nightmare for the past 3 or 4 nights. And we had necrophonics on and necrometer. Some of the girls I was on Snapchat call with had their devices on and they were all intertwining with each other. And from what we can gather, picture frame guy's name is Kevin, and he is one of my hitchhikers. So hopefully he can be returned to the Thomas house when I go back, or he just goes back on his own because
Right.
he's not welcome here. He did not give me a good feeling. So
I only had one hitchhiker out of my paranormal career,
really,
and I ended up we uh we were sleeping one night. My dad was in his room, I was in mine, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, a ball hits my door. One of my dog's toys
ooh,
woke me up, and I figured it was my dad playing a joke, and he was sound asleep. It ended up waking him up. And he said to me, "I told you there's something going on in this house." And I said, "Wherever you came from, you better go back there. I'm cleansing this whole house out, and you're gone because I know how to get rid of things like you."
right.
Never heard a peep out of it anymore.
Wow. Yeah. See, I don't even know. There's a lot of people that say I have what you would call, I guess, a bright light. So I don't know if they just feel welcomed or what. Russell's something trouble. Um,
Jimmy says
they,
Russell is like me. We got enough trouble.
amen. And apparently, hanging out with outlaw causes even more. So
Right?
I'll I'll never get that one. But I tend to bring quite a bit home, even if it's just momentarily, and they're just here to check stuff out and gone. But the few that I've had stay, I've had with me for a little over a year, and they don't really cause any problems. They let me know they're here, but they don't cause any problems. One of them actually will be photographed at every single investigation I do. I
Mhm.
have found him at the Thomas house every single investigation I got him. And the only thing he ever does is scream "we're friends" and a very demanding "we're friends," but he just lets you know he's here. Um, and then the other is a witch that came from the cemetery down here. And I got her at the exact same time. I have several pictures of her. She is, you would think for a witch she'd be mean, but I haven't heard from her in a while, so I don't even, she may have went back to the cemetery for all I know. She used to make herself known very well. I don't like Jimmy's doll being back there.
So, did you have any good experiences when you went to Waverly?
Waverly. The only takeaway, other than Jimmy freaking out and I mean just absolutely freezing up going down the body chute, he thought he was going to be big and brave, and he says he went halfway down it. It's 500 feet down. He did not even go 100 feet. I don't care what he says. He went to knock on the pipe above, and the whole pipe shook out of his hand, and he threw himself up against the wall face first, which I would have never done. I would at least put my back to the wall and said, "Come get me." So I had to go down there and get him. But there's a little girl outside of the body cooler room. Um, we put Jimmy in there to do an Estes. And the whole time I hear this little girl out there saying, "Help me. Hey, help
Mm.
me." But it was in a singing voice. And I'm like, "Do y'all not hear her?" And some could hear her, some couldn't. Jimmy, of course, couldn't. He was in Estes. I actually got a little picture of her standing at the foot of, or sitting at the foot of him playing with the cat ball, which is just so happened to be the only place the cat ball went off in the whole room. Um, we had a little boy named Jeffrey that liked to touch my hair under Estes. He was 8, I believe is what he told us. It was very, we had fun, but I fully believe there's a lot of places like that that are just overworked in my terms, that they're just like, it's people. Oh, well, we see you guys all the time. We don't, you know, look
Right.
if we want. And um, if I had to go back to the Waverly again, I would definitely do the pump house. Um, I think you get like 16 bunk beds, but you don't have to be out till like 2 p.m. the next day. So you
Yeah.
get further thing to investigate. But they had a really well ran system. There was 11 of us there, and we switched out floors, and we had a blast. Jimmy down there dancing to Elvis with the spirits, and then a door would close behind us, and he'd be like, "Shit, what was that?" But we had fun. I think it's like I said, a little overworked.
Yeah, we went, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago now we went. We got a thunderstorm the first night,
Oh, nice.
so that really kicked up activity for us. We had some pretty good, paranormal experiences. A lot of personal stuff happened, and I've got pinned to the surgery table on the 4th floor.
Oh, nice. See, I don't remember. I know the first floors that we were supposed to went to was the fifth floor, but Jimmy said the first floor we went to was the third, which makes no sense to me. I don't know what kind of time lapse happened there, but I don't remember one whole floor that we supposedly went to. I don't know where that part of it went, but
Yeah, you can easily get turned around in there, especially in
well, we went walking forever just to try to get in there. It seemed like because we kept getting turned around. And of course, Jimmy's standing there with his phone in one hand and a camera in the other. He wasn't no help either. He actually called me right before this and told me not to dog him, so I have to dog him a little bit.
he said he's seen that big black shadow upstairs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
As a matter of
Jimmy's a winner.
that shadow, we seen that shadow on the day tour. Just before our investigation, we went on tour with the tour guide, and it was on the 4th floor. We were walking down the hallway, and we seen that shadow peek around the corner at us.
Oh really?
And we yelled out hello because there was another team there with us, and nobody answered us. And then the other team was out on the outer catwalks, and they said, "No, we didn't come through that hallway."
Oh wow. See, we caught a really good picture of the Hat Man. That's what I'm gonna call him at the Thomas house. And then we got another really good picture of a man that was coming down the stairs with me. I'm not sure who he was, but I mean he almost mimicked Jimmy, but Jimmy was nowhere around me. Like You would almost think it was Jimmy if you saw him. It was actually very strange.
Yeah, it's pretty neat when they show themselves to you. We did an abandoned hotel, and the rest of my team decided they were going to go to the regular hotel and sleep. So my dad and I spent the night in that abandoned hotel, and there's no running water, no lights, nothing in that place. So we had a generator running, had the equipment running with it, and cameras running all night. About 3 o'clock in the morning, generator runs out of gas. Everything goes pitch black. So I started nodding off. My dad wakes me up. He goes, "Hey, look in the doorway." And I look, and here's this big 6'5" black figure
Oh,
standing there looking at us. And that's
but
all it ever did was just stand there and look at us.
see, I had a house in Kentucky, and my kids would not sleep in their rooms. They absolutely would not. We had two living rooms, and one of the living rooms actually closed off the hallway to where all the bedrooms were. And my kids kept saying there was a man. And I mean, they would all describe him just the same. My little sister actually moved in. I rented the house to my mom after that. Said the same thing about the man, that he would walk down the hallway, stop and look at them in their room, continue to the next bedroom. Well, I thought my kids were just, I want to sleep in the living room. I don't want to sleep by myself. Until they left for the weekend. They went to a sitter, and I decided to sleep in my bed for the first time. And I finally fell asleep, and something woke me up. And when I woke up, there was just standing in my door facing, just looking at me. And I watched him walk away and stop at the next bedroom, stand there, stop at the next bedroom. Well, my little sister moved in there with my mom, and she told me the same thing. She said, "Sissy, do you know the spirit that's in the house?" I would come home, and like my knives would be out, like one facing up, one facing down, one up, one down. I would come home, my stove was turned on. It bread was out, sandwich meat looked like like I literally thought somebody was coming in my house to eat. That's how much stuff would be pulled out, making sandwiches or whatever. And my little sister calls me one night, and she was like, "Hey, sister, there's two kids behind my mirror talking to me." Those two kids have now followed her to her new house and are still talking to her, but we've had no mention of this man with the hat. He had on a flannel shirt, jeans, and like a straw type hat, like a darker color straw hat. And all four kids described him the same in separate instances. So I fully believe that if they're going to show, they're going to show no matter who's right there.
Right.
They I finally moved out of that house, thankfully, because after I saw it, we all started sleeping in the living room. Me and the kids slept on a sectional. I was like, nope, if I'm uncomfortable, I know y'all are uncomfortable because y'all are little.
Sounds like my the house I lived in when I was about 6, and I seen my first apparition at 6 years old, and at 3 in the morning it woke me up out of a sound sleep. It was a Civil War soldier standing in my doorway,
Oh, nice.
looking at me.
See, my first apparition or first spirit that ever shown was actually my grandpa. And it was the night he had passed, he had came and sit down on the end of my bed, which I actually hear a lot of these stories, and said, "Tell your mom, you know, I'm okay." And that's all I ever remember being my first one. And then when my son passed away, my youngest son was actually two, and his toys would come down the hallway.
Mhm.
No batteries. They didn't take batteries. They didn't take anything. And they would roll down the hallway, and they'd bump into my door. I'd get up, see what it was, make sure my son was good. And I got to the point where I actually started rolling them back down the hallway to them, and they'd just roll back. They would never roll back while I was standing there, but as soon as I would climb into bed, it would roll right. So I used to just be, you know, good night, Logan, go to bed. Like it was my, I guess, my way of rationalizing it because they didn't take no batteries or anything. They should have not been rolling anywhere. Um, Growing up, I never put two and two together. My grandpa, when he got Alzheimer's and dementia, he would leave his house and walk across the yard to our house, come in our door, walk down the hallway, walk out, and go home. And he done it all the time, but I never put two and two together. Well, when me and my husband was living there, we would hear the front door open, walking down the hallway, the front door would close, and that was it. So I'm assuming my grandpa was coming to visit. It was just like it happened until we moved out of the house, but it was also my childhood home too.
Right.
We're put two and two together until many years later. I'm not, I have no idea why, but again, I think it was just my way of rationalizing things until I just couldn't rationalize it anymore.
My grandmother did that too. She passed away in her home, and my dad and I were there working on the basement. And she flipped the circuit breaker off in the house on us. She would shut the basement door because that was her thing. Keep the upstairs basement door shut so the kids don't fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
So she would do that, and then my dad would tell her to stop, and then it would stop. I'd be going to work early in the morning at the golf course, and there's a light on in her house. So I'd stop in, and her closet light's on, and her alarm clock's going off.
She's
That
like,
would be it every morning.
so you got to a point you just looked to see if it was on.
Yep, and then when I had the alarm put on, the motion sensor would get set off. The sheriff's department would say to me, "We stopped at your grandmother's house, the alarm was going off."
That's
I said it
funny.
was a motion sensor.
That's funny. I think it's so neat how they have such little ways just to pretty much let you know, hey, I'm here.
Yep. And then once I got the stuff done that she wanted done, she went on her way.
She was happy.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Thomas house is actually going to start renovating their floors next month. And David said they were actually going to pull some of the church flooring to use for over there, but none of it was keepable. Um, so I told him I'd definitely be back right after they're done and they've got the spirits good and stirred up because
Yeah, that's gonna stir it up.
I think they said that house has been through 3 fires and they're redoing all the floors.
Mhm.
So I told him because he was like, I've seen more during the daytime than I ever have at nighttime. And he told us so many interesting stories. Like, do you know why number 15 is blocked off? Room number 15. So apparently, room number 15 is the most haunted in that hotel.
Okay.
They they had to close it because of how haunted it was, and they've locked it up. Um, he was telling me they had a housekeeper that walked into room 15 to clean it, and she noticed a man walked in behind her, and she thought he was like deaf or mute. All he was doing was waving for her to follow him. Well, she did. She went and followed him to room number 40, and when she went in there, he wasn't there. So she didn't think anything else of it. She turned around to leave, go back to room 15 to clean, and he was standing at the top of the stairs. He said that she ran down to him in his arms in the kitchen, just absolutely hysterical. He says she worked there for about another week before quitting, but they couldn't keep the bedspreads on. They said they would make the bed, walk down the hallway, and it would be destroyed. He was said there was giant like circles of paint that would peel off the wall no matter what paint or primer they used. They said they just got so tired of all the activity and not being able to keep the room guest ready. He is the best that they just had to lock it up. Which we also figured out that if you go straight across from room 16, there is a stairwell that actually leads downstairs to another room. It is also locked off. I would love to get in those rooms. Guys, I'm so sorry because I am sick too. So
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty awesome active place. Watching
it
your
is.
grandma live.
I done five nights, 4 or 5 nights. I want to say it's 5 nights. I had a friend in the hospital back and forth, and there wasn't not one night that we didn't have amazing activity. And everyone goes to, I have figured that out too because I went into it doing the same thing. Everyone goes straight to Sarah's hallway. Um, there's actually so much in the other side of the hallway that it's just boom, boom, boom. It's back to back to back. We done Estes over there on the last night that I was there. And if you, I may post it. I went back and watched my live. You can literally watch orbs fly through the hallway, fly into me, and then they're just gone. And they have some of the most beautiful orbs. They've got like these little pink, like I don't even know how to describe them, but they've got like different hues to them there at the Thomas house, and they're small and huge. I believe what Billy saw the other night when he was with Outlaw is what David likes to call the ball of fire because I actually have it on mine and Jimmy's first live that we done there. And if that's when I go back, I'm gonna ask David because if that's what it is, then I'm only the third person that's ever seen it,
Right.
which would be awesome. But yes, Jimmy, David is amazing. I highly recommend the Thomas house. I mean, simply, even if you don't go for spirits, just go for the hospitality by itself. Not to mention, he's a great cook. David can get down in the kitchen, that's for sure.
Well, do you notice with like a lot of investigators, they hear the history of the place and they're like, "Oh, that's the most active spot." And that's where they all tend to navigate to, but they forget about, hey, there's other spots in this place
Yeah.
just as active that you don't hear in the history. I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
actually,
staying at one spot.
I went into the Thomas house being like, I want Sarah's room. Well, Sarah's room wasn't available when I went in. There had actually been someone there previously, and the house cleaner hadn't got to it yet. And I was like, okay, well, and they were telling me about all these other rooms, and I was like, I ended up choosing David's grandmother's room. And you're not going to sleep easy in there, even though nobody ever picks those rooms. You're not sleeping easy in there. Everyone's flocking to Sarah's hallway when all the activity, a lot of it is over on this other hallway. The picture that Jimmy got of the lady while I was going to get pizza, it was just Jimmy there, was actually in the hallway where his grandmother's room is. Um, I have several pictures of a man standing between a friend and I that was there when I had the girls down. Um, there's just so much to that one. And I went into it saying, hey, I want Sarah's room because that's what I had always heard.
Mhm.
But the staircase, I don't think the staircase has been worked enough. I don't think certain spots in the hotel has been worked enough. And some are overworked.
Well, Missouri State Penitentiary is the same way. Everybody hears 3D, death row. So everybody navigates there, but they forget about the upstairs solitary and all that is that just as active as 3D and death row.
Right. We actually had someone came to us right before we went to Waverly and tried to convince us that spirits does not cross floors. The spirits that are on the fifth floor stay on the fifth floor. The spirits that are on the fourth, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You're going against anything and everything I've ever known and believed.
Right.
Like, I don't think they're stuck to one floor. So if you're, say, going to the seance room, you're going to get whatever spirits are around. It's not seance room spirits.
Right.
So you have to be more open to everywhere in that location.
Well, that's like the creeper. They say I've seen the creeper was up on the fourth floor, and
At Waverly,
it crawled down over the building and went down to the bottom floor.
yeah, I don't think spirits are just stuck where they're at because we were told that the Thomas house had thresholds in it and what spirits were in one hallway couldn't cross over to the next hallway. And that's just, that goes against everything you hear about spirits.
Missouri State the same way too. The dungeon cells housed JB the firebug, Well, when we were first there, we captured a woman yelling hello on camera.
Yeah, I think whatever ones are going to come through is going to come through no matter where you're at in the building. What the heck
I
was
heard that.
what was that?
Sounded like a little girl moan.
I have no idea. Well, all of my kids are gone tonight. They all left us, which is very strange. I don't know if this has ever happened that all of my kids have been gone at the same time.
But yeah, I just heard that.
She's still
I don't know
back
if
there.
anybody in the chat heard that. I don't know what happened, guys. We just lost her. You hear that moan, and then her screen went blank. That was strange. You guys got any questions for me while we wait for her to come back? Feel free to throw them up in the chat. There she is.
There we go. What the? I have no idea what happened. Yeah, I don't.
Greg said that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Sorry. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I
It's
heard that
not.
moan, and then the screen went blank, and you were gone.
I was trying to. I hit the cam to try to come back, and I hit the mic. I'm like, I don't. I'm back, Jimmy. I disappeared. um, Lily. I have Lily over here, the Ghost Adventures doll.
Mm-hmm.
She's she's sitting here looking at me, and I'm telling you, some of these dolls are just creepy. You hear and see stuff, and then you're like, wait a minute. It's not your doll. Your doll's not even hit my K2. I could put my K2 with Evelyn. There she goes. And she's going to start lighting it up, like always. Your doll's being good. Do not jinx her. She has been nice this whole time.
Yeah, the one
Evelyn,
doll that I got rid of, she would turn her head at the camera and smile.
that was the clown last night. I was on the phone with the girls. And I mean, like I said, I come in here and talk to them every night. And the girls are on there with me. And the clown, I had turned him away from one of the girls because she doesn't like clowns. And he most certainly turned his head right back. Now, Charlotte, she has been on every single investigation I've ever done. Um, she actually lost one of her legs at Waverly. She lost one at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. That was actually probably one of my most scariest moments. I had whistled in the stairwell. And growing up in Eastern Kentucky, I know all the rules of Appalachia. That don't mean I'm going to abide by them. I had whistled, and immediately we heard a whistle back. And the people I was with was like, "Shay, how dare you?" Blah blah blah. And as soon as we turned around, there was a hand hit the door facing, and we kind of just scurried on through the door facing. And as soon as we did, something smacked her leg, and I mean, it shattered that whole area. The whole lobby area was covered with pieces of her leg. And then the last one, I picked her up at Waverly, and she just fell apart. So she needs a wheelchair at the moment. She she has been hurt every single time so far. She will eventually retire. But now my daughter, she'll take her into restaurants, and the waitresses are completely freaked out.
Oh, I can
She
imagine.
she'll take her gas stations. She loves that doll. So I don't know if she'll ever actually let me get rid of her, but I do believe she's going to retire from investigations soon before she has nothing left. Evelyn is what I would call my most mischievous. I see the clown's light trying to come on. Y'all trying to act a fool tonight.
Probably
They will throw their stuff at me. I
they know
have been
you
on
got
live. Huh?
They know they got an audience tonight watching.
You sounded very robotic just now. I really hope that wasn't just for me.
They know
um,
they got an audience tonight.
yeah, they will. I've been on live and the K2 will come flying. Cat balls have came flying. Like they're not shy at all. Evelyn is she tries to, if you ever talk to Evelyn, she tries to trick you and tell you that she's a child. If she is, she's the meanest child I've ever met in my life. She's like, yeah, I hear you.
Well, if you
I don't
follow
know.
the theory of Ed Warren as far as, like, dolls go,
Uh huh.
God does not let a child inhabit a doll.
A doll. Yeah. Yeah. I've always heard that. I don't, I've got another little doll over here. She actually has rosary on. And she tried to tell us the same thing. She tried to tell us that she was a child that was accidentally burnt in a fire. And I got to the bottom of that real quick.
Yep.
Um, she's not a child, we'll put it that way.
Well, it's like Annabelle. And they were told that Annabelle was a child spirit in that doll, and it's not.
Yeah, I have recently actually her box is sitting at the foot of me. Actually just bought an Annabelle that was still sealed in her original box. And she's thankfully she's clean. She ain't got nothing. She just sits there. Now I have certain dolls that will make you think twice just with the crap that they've done. I could swear my music box doll up there just moved. I'm losing it.
Yeah, they're weighing on your mind now.
Well, if you could see how many are right here in this room with me and how small this room is, yeah, there's a lot of energy in this room because they're not only right here and above here, but they're above right here and they're down here on the floor with me. And there's a lot of different personalities in here. Um, and now not every one of them have something with them. The ones that do are on the shelf right here.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a couple here on the shelf that doesn't. That's probably like, hey, will you please move me away from these mean
Yeah, they
people?
probably flash.
Right?
Tell
I
them
think that's why Charlotte clashes with Evelyn. She doesn't like being around her.
know them dolls we picked up. The one in the blue dress was yelling for the one in the red dress during the Estes method.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, that's these two have teamed up together and they're the most mischievous, put it that way. Evelyn, she will kick her balls at you too. I figured that out last night. She will literally put her foot up and kick it. And I'm like, why is your foot on my balls over here? Like, why do you have your foot on my cat ball? And you can move it and she'll move it right back. Oh no, eventually I'll get rid of them. Eventually.
Do my
They're
advice:
called Jimmy.
either send them to Jimmy or send them to the museum.
Oh, I definitely have a couple I would send to the museum. There's a lot of people says that Evelyn should be locked behind glass. That which, like I said, she's the only one that reacts to a salt circle too. So no, Jimmy's. I'm gonna pay him back. No, I probably won't, Shreen. You're right. I'm very attached to some of these dolls, and that's I talk to them every night. So I almost feel like a little kid playing with their dolls again. And I don't think I played with dolls this much when I was a child.
Right?
So we're actually going to go to Riverside either this evening or tonight or tomorrow. I'll probably actually do it tomorrow because I'm off on Monday. But Riverside is one of the most active cemeteries I've ever been to. Um, there's a lot of dark there. There's a lot of dark there, and there's a lot of kids there. And we get a lot of conflict with holding the children back. Because I do like cemetery walks throughout the day,
Mhm.
and on a lot of them, you can actually see the little kids' spirits that will go from tombstone to tombstone. Like they're playing hide and seek with us. And there's a lot of dark that will hold them back once you know you start trying to talk to them, and that's I'll actually make my husband go with me there because that is one cemetery that I'm not comfortable in by myself usually.
You wouldn't like Brunswick Cemetery out here in Missouri then.
Uh-oh, you said it was called what? Because I'm gonna have to check it out now.
Brunswick Cemetery.
Brunswick.
Let's just
Yeah,
say,
see, I
everything shifts in that cemetery. Stone
I
sh
actually
benches.
started doing cemeteries first. So
That that is a bad cemetery. There's reported hellhounds in that cemetery.
see, I don't um we done Riverside not long ago. It's been a couple months ago, and something has changed with that cemetery. It's never been too great. Um, my car doors have locked and unlocked themselves just sitting in the parking lot of that cemetery over and over. Um, but it used to not be so dark. See, I actually had no idea why I was drawn to that cemetery. I used to actually go and take my daughter to school and go grab breakfast and sit in the parking lot and have breakfast. And I had no idea why. And I got to looking up the history one day, and it used to be the Smith Cemetery. Well, if you go into the cemetery all the way in the main back by the mausoleum, it's still the original Smith
Right.
Cemetery. My mom is a full-blooded Smith, and so is my biological dad. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this might be why I'm so drawn here. Well, there's something that has shifted. I don't know if there's other investigators or just teenagers that have done some things there that they shouldn't have or what, but it has completely shifted. I went from being able to investigate it solo at nighttime to I don't even like going there solo now.
Right.
So, and it's actually, so we have Hotel Magnolia here in our town. It's actually connected to that. They say the witch was bound to the cemetery as a white owl for her, what you would say, selling her soul to the devil for a love spell, pretty much. Um, it's definitely, if when I go to Riverside, you don't want to miss those lives because I'm constantly looking around like, what the heck is coming? It's a very dreadful feeling, and it's one of those that you can feel the energy shift, and it shifts quick. You go from talking to good to not so good real quick.
Mhm.
So I'm actually, that may be one that I'm like, okay, you gotta stay here. You can't come on with me.
Right.
I drove by there last night just to see if they were open, which I have permission from the people that actually coordinate the burials to be in there. Because trust me, a lot of people like to call the cops on you in the cemeteries,
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
especially in the middle of town. But they're, I'm definitely going to hit that one up tomorrow, and it's been a while for that one.
We did one out here that we got called into for a reported skinwalker,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it actually attacked my father.
Oh no.
He was walking in there by himself, and this red-tailed hawk flew up on top of the tree, and he walked towards it, and a red-tailed hawk will just fly away when you walk up on
Yeah.
it. This didn't, it just vanished, and
Oh
then he
wow.
pinned up against the tree, and then this bruise kept appearing for, like, 2 weeks straight on his wrist.
That's nuts. See, I've been ran out of this one by 3 cats. Um, and there's a tree that if you take a picture, it looks like animals slaughtered hanging from it. But I've never I've never seen a shapeshifter there unless the folklore of it is right and the witch is a shapeshifter. Um, cats. Cats are my big one there. They like to I've had 10 to 13 cats within 2 hours time.
Hmm.
But there's also they have a guard shack that used to be the groundskeepers building that is inside the fence, and the lights on it will come in and out, and you'll see shadow figures walk by there. It's We have another one that I visit quite often called Crybaby, and if you ever make it to Texas, the lore of it is you go by and you honk your horn 3 times, you'll hear a baby cry. You most definitely will.
Right.
They will communicate with me when I'm there by myself, but that is one that I can't take my husband to because nobody's talking to me. Um, it used to be what we have figured out is a poor farm. So I don't know if it's just a men thing or if it's just like my husband said, they think he's evil or what, but they will not communicate with me at all if he's there. But now the babies, there is 53 babies in Riverside and 10 unknown babies in Crybaby. Um, they're just that is one I highly suggest anybody that ever comes to this part of Texas visits. It is one crazy cemetery.
Yeah, we got a few here. We've got Schlegel Cemetery is a big haunted spot that kids love to go in there, and they go in there and they try to provoke Mr. Schlegel, which is a big no no because he was nasty man when he was alive.
Oh, see, I fully believe if they were nasty in life, they're nasty in death.
He murdered 5 of his wives. Looks like we lost her again, guys. Yeah, Greg, my guest is Vixen Paranormal out of Texas. I guess she's trying to come back. If you guys got any questions for me, feel free to post them up in the chat so we can get her back on.
My house is not cooperating. Once again, I'm sorry. Guys, my phone is on D&D. So there's no reason for this to be happening. Yes, I'm near San Antonio.
But yeah, Slagle, he murdered 5 of his wives.
Oh, yeah, he
And
was a very good man.
no, and he was also a judge, so they didn't have enough evidence back then to convict him. Well, his
Uh,
6th wife that he married, he didn't murder her, but her brother had found out that she married him and knew what he had done. He'd come out to kill him. Well, Slagle got the drop on him and shot him and
oh,
buried him in the road up there. So he's buried somewhere in the road near the cemetery. But we've captured figures on thermal out there. We've had rocks thrown at us.
that's one of the common things with Riverside too, is rocks being thrown at me.
Well, we had an investigator decide to provoke him and call him an asshole. And next thing you know, here comes some rocks through the trees.
Why do people do that?
I don't understand why people do that.
That is my biggest pet peeve is disrespect for spirits. I cannot do it. I won't do it. I won't stoop low enough to do it, no matter what.
You always show them respect.
Well,
They're
that's
broke.
like your grandmother.
Yep.
Her alarm going off and her light coming on. You wouldn't want someone going over there and speaking bad to her. So why would you speak bad to some other spirit? Um, I just lost train of thought. Hi, clown.
Yeah, Greg's part of Texas Wraith Hunters in San Antonio.
Oh, nice. That is awesome. Yeah, I don't know anyone from the San Antonio area. Nobody. I
An-
am.
Anthony Sabelos is the owner of that team.
I mainly go out of state. Now I did do Goatman's Bridge. There was actually a group of girls, a group of teenagers came and were trying to conjure up in the middle of the bridge as I was finishing up and leaving, which is, I'm sorry, it's just never a good idea. It's just not. Hi. Um, I don't know what they ended up getting that night. Hopefully nothing too horrible. But Goatman's is one of those that, I mean, it would be great if you could like rent it out and have it all to yourself. But there's so
Right.
much tourists that's coming through that you can't really. I mean, even at nighttime, if you go, there's still people coming through. There's still people walking the trails.
Hmm.
There's no way I personally would be able to trust any evidence that I got from there. That's like that's one of the things I actually appreciated the most about David at the Thomas house is he don't even turn his TV on. Like he lives in another wing of the hotel, but he says that if anyone is there, he will actually go in and put on noise canceling headphones and watch Netflix. He won't even turn his TV on because he doesn't want to disrupt any evidence that you get there,
That's awesome.
which just brings it back to another respect thing. It's phenomenal. You turn it on that time, you strong, buddy, because that's almost all the way unscrewed. That's if you ever watch my live, Annabelle's ball's going off over here, um, and you see me resetting the little bullet lights. Every time I go and reset them, I will unscrew them a little bit further. That way, they have to have more energy to put them back on. And I'm sure I piss them off that way, but
Question for you.
no, they were actually had all their sigils and sitting in their circles with their candles and Ouija boards. And I mean, they were just having at it. Their candelabra stuff. And, I'm not into all of that. I've never been into all of that. I have 3 Ouija boards, and they're mainly just because 2 of them are the originals.
Hmm.
And the other one was just a cool one that I had found. Um, I'm not much for playing with them unless we're at a location that allows it. We actually pulled them out at the seance room in the Thomas house. And the first things that we got on Necrometer was Ouija board, say no.
Yep.
So one of them wouldn't even allow us to open it. It wouldn't slide. It wasn't doing anything. So we opened one and got a good little session out of it. But I'm not much for conjuring up. I think they will present what they want. I think there's enough evil in this world and out of this world that you don't need to be bringing up more.
No, they do that down at Hans Mill too, the Mormon massacre site. The kids will go down there and play with the Ouija boards, and that's one place not to play with a Ouija board down there because there's so much pent up activity down there from people getting shot and murdered down there.
Yeah, so we have a bridge here. It's called the Guadalupe County Bridge, and you will hear about 6 to 8 times a year of a body being found under there. Now that is one place I would like to go and open up a session, but like I said, I do 95% of my stuff solo. So Ouija boards to me are pointless unless I'm with someone.
Right.
That's not something I'm going to do is open one up by myself. Like I need somebody to take half the raft with me. I mean, I would hope that they wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure not all, but I would hope that they would know the threats of what could happen. I mean, I think if you're going to do stuff like that, you should have thoroughly researched anything and everything that may come your way by doing it.
That, and if you're gonna do it, know what you're doing. Set the
Yeah.
intentions and make sure your intentions are good doing it. If you're gonna do it for the wrong reason, then you're gonna expect something bad to come out of it.
Yeah. Intention is everything. Intention, even just in investigating, is everything. That's one of the things I've always done is I've always let them know that I'm just there to communicate and tell their story. No, it is usually from them being shot. Um, that's not Greg, so yeah, I know what you're saying. No, it's usually a smurder. It's usually a smug deal gone wrong, or some of them they honestly don't know why, and they've been found because there's also underneath that bridge a boat ramp, but the bridge goes both ways. It's separated, but you've got one direction and then the other. The walls on that bridge might be about 2 foot high. Like if you're screwing up going across that bridge, you're coming off that bridge. So I make it a point. I won't even park underneath it. But most of them they're crime related. They're not doing it themselves.
Missouri's got that too. We've got to go work a case where a lady's son got murdered. They found him in the field.
There's so many. We have Greg may know what I'm talking about, and he can correct me if I'm wrong because I don't remember what they're called. But we have so many gangs out here that traffic takeovers. Greg,
Mm.
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean they'll stop in the middle of the road and turn around and start shooting at traffic that's just going along your way. So we live in a very high crime area. Where I'm at, we're right between Austin and San Antonio, so we're smushed right in the middle. I think I know what bridge you're talking about. I'm sure if we looked enough into it, there's probably one in every state.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, you've got people that just in their county that go to certain places to do certain things like that. And you hear about it all the time. I know in Eastern Kentucky, where I grew up in Pack County, we had a place called Lick Creek, and that's where most went to unalive themselves.
Well, Missouri's got it too. Like Slagle's, where Slagle was, the mill. His wife was hanging from the bridge.
Ugh.
That's where they found the one wife. They they ruled it out as a suicide, but some people really think that Slagle hung her from the bridge.
I know one of the stories that David had told me about the Thomas house was the house that's diagonally from the Thomas house. He said he was outside minding his business one day and he heard gunshots. And he said the woman came out the door and just kind of like went off the porch very, he said he wouldn't have thought she had been shot. And then the man came out after with the shotgun, and it turned out he had actually shot her and then turned the gun on himself.
Mm.
Or himself. But there's, if you look at the Thomas house, it looks like everything around it is connected in some way. So I think men like that will always um,
Right.
the first time. I think men like that will be, like I said, if they're mean in life, they're mean in death.
Yep.
I believe
Yeah.
that crime is gangs or cartels or both. Living close to San Antonio and Austin, I'm gonna say both. Like it's a little bit of everything. We actually had one of the rival gangs from San Antonio, because I live in Seguin, come into our high school last year and done some damage that shouldn't have been done. We have a lot of rival gangs here. And we have a lot of, my oldest in my house right now is 16. Um, our oldest is 24, youngest is 10. The oldest one in my house is 16. And I'm constantly worried because some of his friends, he was like, well, they're in this gang. Like, they're not your friends no more. Do not be around them. Like,
Right.
they're so easily influenced that if we were still in Kentucky, it wouldn't be a thing that we heard of ever.
Yeah, I know. I grew up in New York, so
Oh, yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about then.
yep.
Ours just have a little southern twang to it. We went to my daughter actually had her first dance last night, and they were some little kids. I looked at my husband. I know it's wrong. It is wrong of me. Go ahead and judge me before I even say it. You are going to be bad when you leave this world, Jimmy. Um, this little boy walked over and he had the baggy jeans on, and he had on, I believe it was like a New York Bronx shirt, and he had a cap on, like a trucker cap, and then he had some sunglasses on, but he walked over there with his wallet open, and I was like, right there's your next cartel member. And like I said, I know it's horrible, but you also had the little boys that walked over, blazer, jeans, cowboy hat, just their little swag. It's so cute to see them. I do recall those. Um, I've seen a spike in my next door app crime that everyone reports on. I've seen crime is going up, and that's probably just everywhere, not just here.
Yeah, it's even here in Missouri. It's gone up quite a bit.
It's I think no matter where you live, you're really not going to escape it. Even if you live in a small, quiet town, you're just not hearing about it. I guarantee it's there. You're just not hearing about it.
That's
That's social media makes it so much easier to hear about it now.
It's like when we do residential cases, we have to do a bunch of background checks on clients before we even go there.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so we know we're not walking into getting shot or a drug deal gone bad, or we're going to be there investigating, and then somebody decides, oh, they ripped me off on money or drugs. We're going to come in there and shoot the place up.
Yeah, I would definitely be doing background checks. Yeah, the man that reached out to me yesterday, he's probably harmless, but if I do it, I'll probably take my husband with me just because he is a single man. Um, I do. I absolutely do. Yes, no matter where I go.
Yeah, when you do residential, never go by yourself. Always
Yeah,
something.
I don't. This man, like I said, is a single man and raising his daughter, but I'll feel more comfortable when my husband's with me. Oh, absolutely. I think people are just learning to hide it better, get away with it easier. Hi, sister.
Yeah, it's spiked everywhere. I mean, like, we got Kansas City, Missouri. Crime's just crazy through there. People getting shot, and
Well, you hear a lot about. So we went to girls' trip back in April of last year to Memphis, and that's walking out of the bar on Bill Street. You're seeing fights, and I mean it's everywhere. It's a matter if your eyes are open to it or not. Honestly, it's everywhere. Now, I will say some of my girls were um scared to be in Memphis because of just what I guess the history of it, the stigma that Memphis has. Memphis is a gorgeous place. I absolutely love going there. And I said you were going to a residential investigation with me, is what I said. Um, doing it solo, I hate to say, you don't know, and especially as a solo female, you don't know everyone's intentions.
Nope.
So he will definitely be going with me to do that one. Now, if I'm going to a cemetery or a location or something, I don't need him along with me. But, even if he wants to go do security in the area, that's fine with me. But he's definitely going on any home ones that I do.
Well, like cemeteries, like if we're going out there, we'll let law enforcement know we're going out there. So
Well, they usually show up for me anyway because trolls. Let's just
I
say
usually
that trolls.
I usually just stop in there and just tell them, "Hey, I'm going out to this cemetery." They usually just say, "Okay, be safe, have fun, call us if you need us."
Yeah, we have a place called the Campbell Log Cabin, and on the property is I know it's called a caboose, but they call it a calaboose. It was the first jail on wheels, and I can't say that's the only location in this town I've went to that cops have not shown up to yet. Um, they actually used it to transport the people in jail to the convict farm, the poor farm. They called it both things. It was a 200-acre cotton picking farm. That's what it was. It also has the first first church of this county that's on the property. That's the only place I haven't had cops yet. So I'm sure that will be next. I'm not. If you come into my stream and you're asking me where I'm at, I'm gonna tell you I'm not. I'm not going to gatekeep what town I'm in or what location I'm in. I know that's not very safe, but I'm not. If you decide to show up, don't show up with any harm because my nine's going to meet you. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Well, that's like even Hans Mill when we go down there. We law enforcement comes down there when we're there. A lot of times they were down there a few times we were, and they see the vehicle. They're like, "Oh, we know who you are. You're good."
Well, I had someone from TikTok, of course, called my local police and told them that I was breaking into the cemetery. Now, mind you, the gate was open. The officer got there and he was like, well, I can see that call was false. You wasn't breaking in, the gates open. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. So they just go away, but people are just call them anyway. I don't know where that's at. I do know about a half a mile up the road here, there's a historical marker that I haven't got. Yeah, I know. That I haven't got to figure out what the historical marker is, and it may not even be a half a mile, but I'm wondering if it has anything to do with this plot of land because it runs all the way up this highway.
Right.
Yes, the hospital. You mentioned that earlier. I was telling Russell I want to do I guess it would be a quad state run. I want to do it at the end of this month. I got to talk Jimmy into doing it at the end of this month. Jimmy's not hard to talk into anything except for food. Now I bought that man food every single night I was there, and I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you. No, you're not. Just eat your food, dude. I have. I have. That's just like most of the bottom section of Riverside is World War I and World War II vets. And I was talking about how the shift in the cemetery came about,
Hmm.
but thinking back to it, they had actually went onto the property and cut down some trees. And I went through and done a cemetery walk that day, and there was all these gravestones covered with the limbs and stuff that they had just caught down. They left them there for about a week on top of these soldiers' graves, and I bet that's what pissed them off. No, no, that's my answer. No. He says that to me all the time. I'm like, no, you're not. No, mm-mm. Not happening. Jimmy is one of the few people that do it because I do it, because I love to do it. I'm gonna investigate, rather there's no one there or there's 1,000 people there. Rather you're liking, commenting, gifting, whatever. I'm going to do it because I want to. When Sachs Bridge is another one that I want to go back to
I've heard of that.
solo. Sachs is awesome. I done an Estes on Sachs right in the middle of it, and there was, you could hear soldiers just tightly walking a circle around me, and it was definitely a strange feeling. That is not right. What do you mean? Oh, the trees. No, it was not right for them to leave them. I've never felt anything bad.
Well, that's like we did Gettysburg in September. We did the battlefields, and I was live on Facebook, and you can actually hear soldiers marching, walking with me.
That's awesome.
You'll hear
There's another part there too. Um, if you ever go to Sachs Bridge and you go on off onto the trail, there's actually another little area that you can investigate where they have um a spooky, was it Spooky Riley? I think is her name. She actually has some really cool pictures of some of the soldiers standing there. And not many people even know about that place. So definitely look around if you go to Sachs, because we went there several times last year. I think the last time we were there was July, July or August of last year. And then we went to Salem after it was July.
hmm
Um, I didn't feel anything bad on those battlefields either.
I didn't either. Like I did all the Devil's Den. And I walked the whole bottom half by myself, all the way through the woods, and that's when you
Now, I
get.
will say Devil's Den is the only place I've ever broke a cell phone. And I cracked my screen in Devil's Den trying to get up on a rock.
That's where I got all the horses and the boots marching behind me. And then
I think
we did the
that
bloody.
also helps too.
We did the
The
bloody,
what?
the bloody field,
Mm.
and I captured a figure on camera there. Actually, I was live on Facebook, just showing my viewers, and it was actually Carol Garcia. If she's still in the chat, she's the one that spotted it. It was a Chinese man dressed in Chinese armor,
Oh, nice.
which they had a few Chinese people fight in the Civil War at Gettysburg.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I think that's a lot of what helps when my husband goes with me, is because he did do 20 years in the military. So he knows some of their slang and he knows some of the questions to ask. I would love to take him to Gettysburg with me.
And then
He's quite into it though.
Little Round Top was another good one. We heard cannon fire up there, and
Oh,
looked
that was,
over the trees just past Devil's Den where the triangular field is, and we seen smoke roll up over the trees from a cannon.
oh, that's awesome.
Asked the
Especially to
ranger,
see the after effects.
yeah, asked the ranger about it. He says they're not allowed to do any reenactments on the battlefield.
Yeah, no, they're not.
So
We spoke
they
to a few down there and they told us that they're not allowed to reenact on the battlefield.
and they heard it too. The ranger said, "So you guys heard it too?" I said, "Yeah, we heard it." I said, "We also seen the smoke roll up over the trees."
That would be awesome.
And then I seen a soldier peeking around a rock formation at Little Round Top.
See, I've got a picture I had took of someone at Devil's Den right in the the little rock that comes up, and there's like this little opening, and there's a spirit there as well. I'm talking about to investigate, sir. You're not in the Marines no more.
Yeah, I wanna go back to Gettysburg. I wanna go out to Reynolds Woods because that my cousin got killed out there.
Mm.
John Franklin Reynolds, he's the one that led the charge out there. They kept telling
Oh,
him to get off his horse, and he wouldn't listen and led the charge, and a sharpshooter shot him right through the back of the neck.
oh,
First day out on the battlefield, that was very beginning.
I can't do war stories like that. I don't know if it's because of Tim now or what, but I can't even watch a homecoming video anymore. So I'm just like, nope.
Andy Decode, a UK paranormal investigator and YouTube content creator. Yeah, he'll have a ball. It's definitely active. That
I
whole
would like to get this just the streets of Gettysburg to myself. Um, could you imagine? I mean, think about all of the memorabilia that's in the shops there on Gettysburg Street. How
Mhm.
much those stories. I mean, all of that stuff that holds a story of some sort. I would absolutely love to get into some antique stores down there to investigate.
Yeah, Granzer, just have him reach out to me.
I think that just repeated itself.
No, I just put it back up in case you didn't read it.
So, so what has been your favorite investigation?
My favorite would have to be Gettysburg. My second one would be Missouri State.
I haven't done Missouri State yet. Um, what's the name of that place? It's somewhere in Missouri that it's got a bunch of little cabins in it. Uh the it's here in Austin. What is it called? Is it the Mill? It's a hotel in Austin. What is that place called?
Yeah, we got a lot of places out here in Missouri to investigate. We got a lot of the history with the war.
It's a place out there with some cabins. Um, the Driscoll. I don't know why I said the Mill. The Driscoll Hotel in Austin is my top bucket list. We done the manger in San Antonio. I actually took my daughter and my little sister. My little sister wanted to go for her birthday, and we done a pretty good investigation there. But the Driscoll is one of my tops. Why I haven't done it yet, living so close, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Maybe
think
because
of that one you're talking about here in Missouri with all the cabins.
it's Jimmy may know what it's called. It used to be they have one in it's like a ghost town. They have one in North Carolina as well. Um, I'll have to look it up. I'll have to shoot it to you in a message. But it's got like 7 to 9 little cabins, and the cabins were used for not people owners, but the opposites. Slaves is what they were used for. So kind of like a headquarters
Mhm.
thing. But I want to say it was close to where Jimmy just shot that show at. So
Oh, down by Cape Girardeau?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a little ghost town, which they also have one in Gatlinburg as well. And then I think there's one in Hickory, North Carolina.
We got quite a few out here.
I'm sorry.
We got quite a few ghost towns. We got one in, like, northeastern Missouri. There's still one house left. The cemetery's still there, but that's about it that's left of the. And, supposedly, it's supposed to be haunted. A train derailed there, and a woman got decapitated.
Oh, yeah, I can't do some of those deaths. They're just so brutal. I have. Yeah, we done the Alamo at the same time that we done the manger. So May of last year. We actually when we went down to Waverly, there's a hotel that's right there in the same county. Um, I don't remember what it's called, but the security guard has actually worked there for like the past 16 years. He actually offered to let us come in anytime we want, and he would comp the parking and all
Oh,
of that and let us come in and ask him some questions, pretty much interview him and take us through the hotel. There's a lot of places that if you just show some respect that you get pretty far with. Jimmy likes the Glen House. Well, Jimmy, you didn't take me to the Glen House, so I don't know.
that's like we got the Atchison, out in Atchison, we got the McIntyre Villa. That's a big paranormal hotspot.
The what was it?
The 1889 McIntyre Villa.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the villa part.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place if you ever rent it out. Stephanie's pretty good. She's a pretty good host.
Yeah, see, I would like to get, I don't know, between about 6 to 8 people. So I'd like to get about 6 to 8 people and I mean just go on a massive run. Like a massive run. I just heard a tap behind me. Which of course I look to them.
Greg said he missed you by a month at the Alamo.
I love the Alamo.
Never been there, but
There's there's several haunted hotels near the Alamo. Um the Davy Crockett is right there near the Alamo as well. We went over there that night. There is I want to do the Faust Hotel here in New Braunfels. That's I'm gonna check into that one this month because it's like I don't know 15 minutes from the house.
mm,
A lot of the problems with the hotels, though, if they don't exclusively run for investigations, then you get a lot of really weird looks when you go to investigate from other people staying at the hotel.
oh, I'm
Um, to an extent, yes.
probably sort
That's just like
of,
USS Lexington and Corpus. They allow investigations as well.
probably sort of like how Gettysburg is during the day, but they
Yeah,
say if they catch you with some paranormal equipment, they'll take it from you. But we didn't have no problems when we were out there with it.
I am really bad for running around my town. We have palace theaters and stuff like this. My girls will laugh at me because I'll just run around throwing cat balls out. Could you hear the bolo being put out? Crazy woman runs around throwing cat balls, yelling at spirits. That would be what my town would be putting out. Yes, the Magnolia. Yes, the Crockett is a great hotel.
That's like we got the big hotel here in St. Louis, the Lemp Mansion.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
that's the most active place. I have a buddy that goes there and stays there, and he'll send me videos and constantly from there.
I still haven't. I've yet to go through all the footage from the Thomas house. I'll eventually get through it. There's there's one part I won't even watch, and that's the part where Jimmy and I was down in the dining hall and kept hearing a bunch of thuds upstairs. And I tried to watch it today actually while I was at work, and whatever it was taking my camera out. Mm-mm. There is not one location I refuse to investigate. Nope. Um, Jimmy will run off and leave you. I've had other people run off and leave me, but there's not one spot I would not investigate. No. Is there a place that you would like me to investigate that you think I wouldn't want to?
Says there is one area that I find that I get told and get the impression that most will not investigate is at the old Church of Satan in San Fran, founded by the late Anton LaVey. I've heard of it.
I I think that goes back to intention. I mean, you've got to go in with good intentions. You can't go in anywhere with bad intention and expect to have a good time. So there's not anywhere I wouldn't investigate. Yes, he does.
It's
Jimmy, that is one thing I respect about Jimmy though, is he will tell you he's not afraid to run. He's going to throw you to the wolves and he's going to run. Hmm.
so he's one of
He
those. If the zombie apocalypse happens, he's going to trip you so you get eaten first.
absolutely. I mean, think about it. At Waverly, he didn't even want to see what was coming. He buried his head into the wall and said, "Come get me." I was sitting there. I was like, "Jimmy, why'd you put your butt out to him?"
I went
I
all.
mean,
I did the body shoot at 3 in the morning. Went all the way to the bottom.
I would have loved to. We threw some balls down. I think we threw like three down, and they took some of them took forever to hit,
Yeah, that's what it
but
seems like.
everyone sounded like someone had just stomped their foot and stopped it. I'm doomed with zombies. I'm telling you right now, I'm doomed with zombies too because I'm not running. There better be. I'm not even sure a bear's going to make me run. Thank you, Donna. Um, I'm not. I'm more worried about what's alive than what's unalived. I'm not running.
Yeah, I don't run either.
At this point, it's you know how they say the older you get, the less life in prison is a deterrent. That's pretty much still how I feel. Don't tell me. Jimmy, I have it on video. I have the part where he was, "Come get me." I hate zombies that can run. No, nope.
Unless you get the ones like Zombieland that are homers.
Mm, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just gonna cook them a meal and hope that they eat it instead of eating me. I can cook, so I'm sure I'm too old to run anymore. I'm sure they like chicken and dumplings. That's what I'm gonna throw at them. If you are talking to me, I have no idea. I do not watch TV. I do not watch movies. I do not have time for any of that. I'm a fat kid, but I can run. Well, guys, I ain't running no. I'm not winning a marathon.
So Jimmy basically is like the dude run guy.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah. No, Jimmy's great, but now he will leave you. I've had a man investigate with me in a cemetery, and he ran out and left me. I whistled and something whistled back. He ran and left me and got so scared he ran back into the cemetery. I was like, no, that's a problem. I'm just gone, Greg. I'm just gone.
That's like I seen 6 grown men go running out of Missouri State Penitentiary over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they went running into the dungeon when we channeled into something. We were doing an Estes down in the dungeon, and we decided not to use the spirit box. Tapped into
Mm-hmm.
our abilities, and when we channeled into something that wasn't very friendly, it was a man because Nesper housed all their stuff in his cell, so he wasn't happy.
Right.
He moved down to the dungeon where it was quiet. Well, we channeled into him, and he was cussing. And these 6 grown men went running out of that dungeon.
That would have been a great. I hope you got that on video.
Oh, we got it on video.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I would have had to break up investigation right there and just laugh for a few minutes. Yeah, what'd they say they saw?
They just didn't like what we channeled into.
They didn't like what you were getting.
Yeah, they didn't like the evidence we were getting doing the Estes. And
So, what do you think the difference between Estes and channeling is? Because there's a lot of people that claim to be able to channel that.
channeling's not, it's not as easy as you think. Estes is more of your spirit box radio communication, where Estes is you're just putting a blindfold on and you're relying on that third eye to communicate with something. Like if we heard somebody talking, we wouldn't respond.
Right.
We didn't hear them, and then we got what popped into our mind, and then we said what it was. So that's more
Yeah.
of your channeling,
That
but
makes,
channeling can be dangerous because even as a medium, you're channeling. Derek Akora was good at it, the psychic from Most Haunted.
mhm.
Something takes over your body, you have no control of your emotions, your body, nothing. You tap in, you channel into something that's violent, you're gonna get violent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't condone doing that channeling if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to my Estes, that's for sure. I know a lot that do that channel with the Estes. Yeah.
But yeah, it can be very hard on you. Like when we do Estes, we only go like 15-minute sessions.
Yeah.
And we actually learned something from Epic VIP events. You do a countdown on the spirits, countdown from 10, and that puts
Hmm.
pressure on them to get their last words in.
Yeah, that's just like when I'm in here talking to whatever at nighttime. Once I light that last cigarette, I'm like, look, y'all have until this is done and I'm gone. Whatever you need to say now. Yeah, every single time. So it should work exactly the same way.
With that doll, we did it, and Mike went up there and started counting down, and he hit about 5, and then they come across the spirit box 2. Then told him to shut up. It was done.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you'll know if the clown comes through, he tells you to silence, be quiet. And then when you're about to leave, he'll say, wait, wait, wait. Like, wait a minute, I'm not done.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the next object they didn't double Estes with was a mirror that was an old lady's, and so
I don't
they had me
things.
come up and count it out, and I started getting ready to count out. I just walked up there, and it comes across the spirit box. One of the Estes method ladies goes, "Hey, handsome."
I
I was like, "Oh, okay. We got a flirty ghost."
was gonna say you had she had a spirit crush.
Then I go to count them down, and it goes, "I like country boys."
Oh, that's so funny. You had to laugh, right?
Oh yeah, I was laughing. The whole crowd. There was a crowd of people watching us
That's funny.
do this, and
That's Margaret with Jimmy at the Thomas house. She likes him. You do it silently.
but yeah, Estes does take a toll on your body if you're in it.
Estes is draining. A lot of people don't realize that. I had a friend when she came over to the Thomas house that tried Estes for the first time, and I mean, she didn't really get a whole lot, but she went to the room and was out. She was done, and she said the same thing. It's very draining, and it is. But now I suggest to never tap Jimmy out. That man kicked me in the shin so hard. And I told him every single time, Jimmy, when I tap you out of Estes, I'm going to tap you on this leg.
What you need to do is get yourself a long stick and reach over and
I
tap.
was going to say, I'm going to grab a stick next time and just whack him. Because the next time I went to tap him out, like I went over into the room and then just reached my arm out and tapped him. Because if I probably still have a bruise on my shin from him kicking me with his boots. I'm not. I've had a couple people tapping out of Estes that's actually got pretty violent. It can be very overwhelming. Absolutely.
Yeah, it can be, especially if you're not used to it, because you
Well,
can
I
act.
find if they're very persistent, the more persistent the spirit is for me, the more overwhelming it becomes because it's almost like a demanding
Yep,
thing.
and
Now,
Estes
Mark,
is dangerous too,
yeah,
especially to somebody new that's not has never done it before, is not used to it.
Margaret, she came through quite a bit on my Estes at the Thomas house, and she's not. We actually figured out that Mrs. Cloyd's name was Margaret. He does get into it. Um, and she was the one that actually was found cheating on her husband, and her husband actually fought the guy out to the balcony, shot him, and threw him over. Um, she has the hots for Jimmy. She actually admitted under Estes that she was the one that likes to pull on Jimmy's beard,
Mm,
and she's the one that likes to come over top of him and scare him. That way, he has to pull his blankets up over his head till daylight. So Jimmy's probably had some pretty good experiences at the Thomas house with her. She's very persistent, and she's very draining. She will drain you pretty quick. I the last night we actually done the investigation, I was like, all right, I'm leaving. And he was like, wait, you're leaving? You're leaving me alone? And he actually, I think, posted a video that he was all alone at the Thomas house because I just went ahead and got on the road. I'm awake.
mm.
I've got to wind down from the investigation. So I just went ahead and started driving. And he was, you're leaving me by myself? Yeah. So hopefully he slept good that night.
Probably not.
He probably did. Well, I don't know. His blood pressure was up pretty good. So when I went in there to tell him I was leaving, he was already conked out. I made him get up and help me come pack my stuff out. No, if you're not used to it, it's definitely mentally taxing.
Oh yeah, it'll get to you if you're not careful.
Well, and I have a very strong urge to try to remember everything that comes through. So then an hour later in my mind, I'm still going over the things that came through and how they can relate. And I've got a whole notebook here of crap that I wrote down from one, but I just try to keep track of it, and it's exhausting. A lot of people don't realize that just being sensory deprived is exhausting in itself
Yep.
without even adding spirits or anything into it. Your mind is racing, you've got a blindfold on, you're like, okay, wait a minute, I can't see. And especially because I don't do Estes solo. I don't do it. Especially now, if I'm at a location that's a little different, I can bring someone up in the box and they can ask questions. But if I'm in the cemetery, I am not doing Estes solo, because even if you can see me and you can see what's around me, I can't hear you or see you to know
Exactly.
that danger is coming. So a lot of people, I've been down to quite a bit for not doing solos at the cemetery and doing my Estes. I'm not doing it. I'm not risking my safety to give you an Estes when I can't see or hear anything around me and I'm relying on somebody on the other end of the phone. I'm not doing it.
Well, that's like when we investigate, we run DVR cameras, and if I'm investigating solo, I'm in camera view the whole time. So somebody,
Right. But if you're
I,
blindfolded
but
and you got noise canceling headphones on, I mean, if somebody's on the phone trying to warn you, hey, Vix, there's someone coming up behind you, I'm not going to hear them.
nope.
So they can see me, but whatever happens on camera has already happened and I don't know it.
Yeah, Donna, it is. It's very exhausting when you do it because you're using your body as the conduit for that spirit to come in and communicate.
Jimmy has a very funny belief that I actually did not think about until he brought it to my attention. I don't know, one of my girls had asked or something, but Jimmy's belief is that no matter what you're using, whether it be Parabox or Necrometer or Spirit Talker or cat balls, dowsing rods, that they're pretty much the same thing as a Ouija board. I had never thought of it that way until he told me. um, but I kind of, he's kind of got a point there. I mean, either way, you're still communicating.
Hmm.
So that was something I hadn't really took that in consideration.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're sending that invite out,
Mhm.
something to come through. It's just like if you were doing a Ouija board, same exact thing. You're sending that invite for something to come communicate, whether it be
Yeah, I
spirit,
guess
something.
I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, it's basically the same way.
Well, I mean, you have so many people that's afraid of doing the Ouija board, but I mean, they're out here doing everything else. So
Mm, yeah, it's a
basically the same thing.
tarot card, same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, the tarot cards I could definitely see. Um, that's that's a whole subject right there. Absolutely, intentions are everything.
Seances, another form of communication. You're table tipping, and so it's with your intentions and making sure you're protected.
Yeah, we know. I don't do nothing. I'm not. Exactly. It's a tool. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. I'm not very good at. No, I'm pretty good at grounding myself and stepping away when I need to. I've always got my water. I've always got If you ever hear candy wrappers in my pocket, it's because I'm putting a caramel in my mouth and something's just not feeling right for me. But it takes it back to my hitchhikers. I'm not like, hey, you got to stay here.
Right.
I'm sure my wish I did say that, but it had to be a pretty heavy session for me to say, hey, you can't follow me. You can't come in my space. This is, you know, stay. It's got to be pretty heavy.
Well, it's like my mentor Wade said from Nesper from Ed and Lorraine's team. He keeps a bottle of Gatorade with him for people
Yeah,
that do that, and they get drained and their electrolytes are down. So he keeps electrolytes on them, and he'll keep like
yeah,
just hummus with them. They get the nutrients and the energy back in them, and
yeah. I will always tell anyone that because my water has electrolytes in it. It's with me 24/7. But I always pretzels are another good one.
yep.
You know, I buy these little mini bags, Dollar Tree for $1.25. They are great to have on hand. Just something that you can get the sodium, get the electrolytes, get everything back in, and regroup. What would be your number one tip for someone going solo?
Make sure you've got protection on. You're protected. Ground yourself. Always know your surroundings
That's a huge one. Absolutely. I do a safety walk several times before I ever get started.
because you're walking around in the dark. You're by yourself. You trip. You get hurt. There's nobody there to help you.
Yeah, I swear Jimmy's the one that tripped me at the Thomas house because I walked into my room just fine. And when I walked out, there was a pillow in front of my door that I tripped over. And normally when I walk, I look down. So I know the pillow wasn't there. Jimmy's like, I didn't put it there, which he probably didn't. I don't even think he's in that side of the hotel, but we're gonna say he did because if not, something was trying to trip me up. But I pay attention to everything, especially in the cemetery, especially flashlights. Always have your flashlights. Have one that will point in, zoom in to just pinpoint what you're trying to look at, and one that's got a wide range is huge, especially in cemeteries. I try to always have my little motion lights. They have it's either a 3 or 6 foot radius. They've saved me several times from just animals in the cemetery. If you don't know what's going on around you, you can't protect yourself around you.
Yep.
So pay attention. Absolutely. That's a huge one.
Yeah, because even like when I investigate solo, my dad's watching me the whole time on cameras because I'm always in camera
Yeah.
view, and he knows. He's worked with me long enough now that he knows if something's going on with me that he needs to head back there. Or
Yeah. Yeah, and that's always good too to have someone watching. You know, my girls know they're always on my streams and if there's someone there with me like Jimmy, tap her out, get her out. That's don't listen to Kirsten, guys, because she's scared of the dark. She's not going anywhere by herself. No, I'm kidding. I love her, but she is scared of the dark. But they know when to get me out. They know when to tap me out, and they know when I've had enough and I need to just step away, reground myself, and come back to it. I agree with that, Greg. Unfortunately, I know no one in Texas. And my partner is always too busy working. I didn't read what the last one said. Something about money in his room. I did call her out. She's so interested into it, and she's recently got her a REM pod and some cat balls and bullet lights and this and that, but I can't get her off her front porch. So I will work on that this year. I told her, I was like, look, we can go out on stream and co-host. You in one cemetery and I'll go to another one. She ain't having it. I'll get there. By the end of this year, I'll have her off her front porch. Maybe. I'm not moving out of the state of Texas. It ain't happening. Did I tell you it was 82 degrees today? I'm not moving.
That's better than Missouri. It was only 40 here.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. We get like a week of winter in Texas and we're done. So that I can handle. Just to go and investigate with Jimmy, I've had to buy heated jackets and stuff. So no, I'm good. I'll stay on this side.
I know he was complaining when he was out here at the Glen house how cold it was because he was out here when we were getting that Arctic blast.
he Jimmy, when he, yes, I know, but you're still always working. When he helped me take my stuff out to the car the other night, he literally just set it down and went inside. I was like, I ain't even got my car unlocked. He freezes. He makes fun of me for freezing everywhere, but he freezes too. I bought heated gloves and a heated jacket. I'm not getting cold. Y'all can get cold. It's totally different though, and Greg will probably agree. Once you get acclimated to Texas weathered, and it's so when it's so cold everywhere else, anything below like 70, 75 is freezing. I don't like it.
Oh, yeah, I know my aunt lives in Florida. She used to come up to visit my grandmother in New York, and we'd be running around in T-shirts, and she'd be freezing.
Yeah, no, I'm freezing at the moment, so and I guarantee Tim's probably got the AC kicked back on since it's in the 80s again. Well, when have you done that? Yep, twice. Well, he's usually in bed too. That's another one. He would go with me anytime, but he's if he goes out, he wants to go out for 2 or 3 hours. Whereas I'm like, we can't leave before 3 a.m.
Right.
So that's the main reason he don't go with me. It's just because I'd rather him get his sleep than be out there chasing spirits with me. Supernatural ink. So how many tattoos do you have?
Me, I've got 5.
Oh,
But
okay.
Supernatural Link's not a tattoo company. AD Stafford builds, spirit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
He's I don't know if you ever heard of the paranormal mad scientist.
Mm-hmm.
That's AD Stafford, the owner of Supernatural Inc.
Oh, I totally just spilled my water everywhere.
He was on, the TV show Ghost of Devil's Perch, Ghost of Morgan City, Ghost Brothers.
It almost looks like a tattoo studio logo. That's why I was asking because a
Oh,
lot of them
I made
old
that,
school thing.
but the
Yeah.
corner one is actually the Supernatural Inc. logo. Originally, it was supposed to be a tattoo shop. Then he got
Oh,
billed
okay.
it. So,
Well, that makes sense. That makes more sense. I don't even remember how old you are. 45 or 46. I don't remember. Mm, no, but that would be interesting. Oh, yes. They're called something else. They're not called voltage chest pins. They're called something else. It should work the same way as a EMF, like a K2.
mhm.
I'm always finding ways around spending the money on equipment. Always. Um, the Dollar Tree has little, what are they called? Motion sensor, like little witches at Halloween.
Mhm.
They work great. my spirits love them. So there's always something you can get around with it.
Granzer, this is the channel for Supernatural Link that we're on. I do have my own YouTube channel, Beyond Life Paranormal Research, the Missouri edition.
Just forgot.
Well, they just left it like that. They call it like that because they print out their own cases for their boxes and everything like that.
Mm,
They do merch, they do merch for us. We've got merch coming out through Supernatural Link. All
awesome.
the podcasters do.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my paranormal channel. What day Sam is the
Oh,
30th?
she's talking to Tim. His is the 30th, May 30th.
Yeah, Greg's also part of Supernatural Link with me.
Nice. That's cool. Ghost and shadow people activity if you stay.
Haunted Holiday Inn in San Antonio.
Used to be a jail. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, we stayed at the Holiday Inn in Gettysburg, and it was haunted.
Who, me or him? I have, absolutely.
I have too. I get the haters all the time, especially
You know,
my
my
family.
mom did. Mm-mm. She she did not believe until I was investigating Murray Station, and she thought Kirsten had, because she was coming in for my brother's memorial, she thought she had already gotten there because she had never met her before, and she saw a woman walk by, stop where I was at, and just walk on through. So she called and she was like, "Hey, so your friend got there?" And I was like, no. And she was like, "Well, who?" And I was there, and I was like, well, "Me and the person I'm with." And she was like, "No, there's someone else there." And she described everything she wore. And then she took my dolls that I had left at her house on accident and put them in the garage. She said they wasn't coming in her house. And she said something kept saying, "Get me out of the garage, get me out of the garage." So she actually took my dolls and put them back into the bedroom I was staying. She's a very big believer now. Evidence. Show them pure evidence. Show them undeniable, undebunkable evidence.
That's what I do, or I just don't acknowledge them.
Lots of shadow people, unfortunately. Someone just burped. No,
Nope,
not here.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either.
But yeah, I mean, I catch it all the time. I've been in this field a long time, so I catch the fakes, the haters, and with me being related to the Warrens, I catch it too, like they did. So
Mine is unfortunately just backlash from people that's never met me. Um, oh, yeah, so that is actually my mom. I took her to Bentonville Elementary, and that was her very first investigation. And the spirit talker kept talking all night about wanting to send someone to the hospital. Mom's on blood thinners. And no sooner than it started talking about going to the hospital, her nose just started pouring. And I mean, covering the floor, pouring. And it was, it was nuts. I mean, she's a little more of a believer now than she used to be. That's for sure. Probably behind Russ. You got some
Probably,
spirit with you, Russell.
probably. Well,
I
Greg showed Wednesday night. They do when Spirit Connect, and they do
mhm.
live Estes method.
Oh, I'll have to tap into that one then.
And my name got called out on their Estes method.
That's pretty cool too because your name is not super common.
Nope,
So
that's like the third time that's happened on. It happened on KD's session. He was doing a session one Saturday morning, and my name. He does this talk to talk to type app type thing with the Spirit box, and it typed my full name out.
oh, nice. Have you tried SPI yet?
No, I haven't. I think you can only get that for iPhones, though.
It
I don't.
is for iOS right now.
I know he's working on making it for Androids also.
Yeah, that app is something else. It's got very few features, so it's nothing huge. But I have asked that thing, I mean, just stuff that I would only know. And it has been spot on. We actually had to message the creator because the app is not supposed to talk to you if you don't talk to it. And it's only supposed to give you one word answers. It's not supposed to continuously keep answering. And it does. Or at least here in my house, it does. It will talk to you without you talking to it. Oh, Lord.
Where do we start?
Right. Um, Pair unity is not a thing.
Garbage.
That's all I'm saying. It's not. Um, there's a lot of unnecessary bull hockey.
Yep.
Oh, you do see a lot of people that's willing to work with each other, but they usually have some kind of obstacle to get through first. It's usually something he said, she said, crap that was never actually said. And then you can work with each other, but I try to stay out of it. It seems to find me, but I try to stay out of it.
So do I. I mean,
It's not always, not always, Jimmy.
had our share. We've dealt with it for like 2 years straight of the drama from former members to other people, and it's like we're not dealing with it no more. You want to start drama? Go somewhere else because we're not reacting.
Well, I guess the way I think about it now, and it's not always been this way, because I mean, it used to bother me. It doesn't no more. If you're going to tell a story about me, add something good and go tell it to someone else. Like, just keep it going. Make sure by the time that I figure out what I've done, it's damn good. Like, I'll have at it. I have found so many. It's more jealousy and who you can undercut to get where you want to go. I don't want to go anywhere. I simply want to share something that I love with people. That's it.
And
I have
basically,
no goal as far as
right? Basically,
anything.
most of the people, it's trying to be famous, thinking they're going to be another Zach Baggins or another Tats team.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Like, leave me to my cemeteries. Everyone, well, there's a few fakes. That's a whole nother subject. So I'm not going there. I was referring to the SBI.
Well, that's like my cousins Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're both dead, and they're still getting the crap thrown at them.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
With the
Um,
that Ed had a mistress love child, which wasn't true.
there now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of creators, a lot of investigators that are smoke and mirrors. I mean, they just are. There's plenty of proof to back it up. Um, there's a lot that is just in it for the money.
Yep,
I mean, I understand if you're going to try to make it a full time thing. I ran across the post today from a creator that was shaming his community. It's telling now, mind you, this creator made $28,000 in 1 week just on TikTok. And now he's on there shaming, or they're on there shaming and saying they're doing it for pennies. I'm going to do it regardless. I don't get the mindset because whether you're on there watching or you're not, or you're gifting or you're not, I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do regardless. You cannot pay me to put out more equipment. You cannot pay me to give you an extra, you know, live investigation. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Period. I don't want fame. I don't want money. I simply want to share what I'm doing. That's it.
that's me. I'm not in it for the fame. I got into this to help people, and that's what I do, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
There's so much jealousy and undercutting. That's all I'm gonna say.
And it's who
Amen.
get to these paracons and who. Oh, this team going to this paracon. Why are they going there? Because they're fake, or they're jealous because they didn't get to make it to that paracon. They didn't get asked, and they think they're better than the other
I
team.
understand the jealousy. We should all be in it for the same thing, the same goal. Tell stories. Yeah, tell stories. I mean, you're talking about people that can no longer voice their story. The only way they're going to voice it is if you do it for them. You should be after the same thing that the rest of us is. There should not be jealousy. And if you don't like what's happening, try harder.
Yep.
That that's just like if someone can promise you an investigation that's full of activity from start to finish and it's not boring at moments, I'm sorry, but you're getting smoke and mirrors because not every investigation is going to be evidence after evidence after evidence from start to finish and no boring moments. I'm standing there sometimes saying, well, wait a minute, I just asked that question. Now what am I going to ask them? Because they're not communicating. It just doesn't happen that way. You don't get stuff from start to finish and all the way through.
Or they'll get a little piece of evidence and then they'll milk it for what it's worth just to get viewers and ratings and
Yeah, that's just like the hooting and hollering and oh fuck, what was that? And yeah, I can't. If I see something, you're going to see it, or I'm going to be like, oh shit, this is what I just saw. Like, help me try to figure out what it was. Let's debunk it. Let's figure out what it was together, because that just flipped me out. You know, you're going to get natural, honest reactions during my live investigations because I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm not here to make you stay any longer than you was already going to stay. Absolutely, Allison. I'm not. What you see is what you get, and I know a lot of people say that, but anyone that knows me will tell you that is, I'm not faking for nobody.
I also say the same thing. What you see is what you get. If we don't catch nothing, that's what you're gonna see. We're not gonna go out there and fake nothing. We're gonna try to debunk what we can and improve what is real.
Hmm. Your thoughts on what you watch a popular paranormal channel, then a video comes out debunking some of their works. Is it truly debunked, or is it just people that want to find fault in anything and everything that the person's doing? I
exactly. I
mean,
mean, I'm with you on that too when it comes to that.
if you can clearly see that what is being shown is not what is being portrayed, I told you, Jimmy. Well, let's go. Um, then I mean, there's your answer already. It's normal to feel let down. It really is. I know exactly who you're talking about because I do keep up with that stuff. But Kirsten's going in the trunk. It's you also have to use your own discernment. I mean, you do. There's going to be haters of absolutely everybody for absolutely no reason. If you yourself can't debunk it and you yourself can't see something is wrong, use your discernment. I mean, you can only go so far with what people say.
Yep.
I mean, I had someone, another creator team, let's put it that way, that tried to debunk my car doors, locking and unlocking. And I was sitting here holding the camera with this hand, showing you this hand, and everything's locking and unlocking. Now, if you can debunk that and tell me I'm lying, go for it. Because I want to know how. Like, teach me how that is.
Right. Well, that's even like when I was a kid in that house I lived in. My parents woke up the one morning and the car was started. Now, this is going to kind of show my age here. That was before auto start.
Mm, yeah. Jimmy, did you see that I have a piece of the Thomas house came with me from a chandelier somewhere? I'm taking that sucker back. I will remember that. Then that's easily debunked, darling.
Yep.
I mean, if you see the person, I mean, there's no discernment to be used. You've got eyes you can see. You're clearly smart. So, like I said, there's some that's just smoke and mirrors, and there is some that is give me, give me, give me. The only give me's I want is the stories from the spirits.
Yep. I mean, we're set up for modernization, but we don't ask for it. We don't ask for goals on TikTok. We just do our thing. We just educate.
Don't get me there, Russell. Oh, Lord. I set goals. I do. My mods have me set goals. They are not necessary. I will sit and tell you they're not necessary. They are always appreciated, but they are not necessary. I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do, regardless. You do have, I don't try to debunk other people's work. I just don't. It's not for me to debunk. Now, if I run across it, then yes, of course, I'm going to be like, okay, wait a minute. But 9 times out of 10, I don't give it a second thought. It's not mine. It's not got my name on it. I don't care. Um,
Grand Zero, I'm not that young.
unless it is evidence that is tied to me, I really could care less. I'm not about making drama with anyone else enough to debunk their stuff. Now, if someone comes and asks me to debunk it, which I actually had a guy, just a regular guy, not an investigator, sent me a video the other morning on my way home from Texas. And it's a video he's got posted to TikTok just of him and another guy playing music. And it was a song that he had wrote to his, I don't know if she was his spouse or his girlfriend, but either way, they were in a relationship together. And he was like, I swear I hear a woman's voice. Well, he did. The woman was, as soon as the video starts, a woman says, I love the song you wrote about our love. And it is playing this day. I clipped it, sent it back to him, and he was so thankful. I don't know what Russell's attending this year.
I will be
We
at
should,
the Rock Island Paracon in October.
yeah, that's the one I would check out. I think I wrote that down.
That's what we
Yeah.
got so far now, but they're just starting to roll in now. We're
Oh yeah, I did.
usually around like March, we'll find out which ones we're going. People will start booking us.
Yeah, I've applied for a few of them,
Best
which
watch our page. Best thing I can tell you.
you your little scrolly thing at the bottom. I've read it 1,000 times. You're being pulled behind on a trailer. Oh, that woman right there. If anyone was in last week's investigations, is the one that I was running back and forth because she was in ICU. She's dangerous with her wheelchair, her motorized wheelchair. She's ran over me. She's ran over Jimmy. She's dangerous. That's why she's getting pulled on the back by a trailer. That's the women that are on my, I won't say team because they'll kill me for that. But the women that I have behind me that's going to call me out on my bullshit if they see it or hear it are an amazing group of women, and they'll tell you the same thing. They will never let me spill some bullshit that's not there. Rock Island Paracon, yes.
Rock Island,
Yep.
Illinois.
Oh, why is that? Why is my?
We'll be there. Get Haunted will be there. Nesper will be there with the real Annabelle doll and several other artifacts from the Warrens Occult Museum. Looks like it's going to be a pretty big one. There's going to be a lot of big names there for this one.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm gonna check into.
Yeah, Jimmy and those guys will be at Smoky Mountain Terror.
Smoky Mountain.
And we're still waiting to hear on. You may see us at, if you're in the Kansas City area, at Crypticon this year, which is the big horror movie convention. We're probably going to be there doing some paranormal stuff with the crowd. We're waiting to hear on it.
That's awesome.
We're probably going to do an Estes method with the crowd.
That would be cool.
We're hoping Kane Hodder will get in the middle of it because he's a big paranormal guy. He's going to be there this year.
I made it to the finals of his Face of Horror this year. Yeah, this past year to the
Oh,
end of last year. Yeah, that was a fun competition.
oh yeah. I think it's rigged though. I was in it too, and
Oh, it's absolutely rigged. Yeah.
because some of the people that were in there, I was looking at some of the pictures that actually made it past me. I mean, I had a bunch of haunted, scary stuff on, and none of them. They were just their regular selves.
Yeah. See, I do SFX makeup. So love you, mama. That is what you think of as barbecue.
Yep.
Yep. That would be why.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up. We're losing Vixen again, so we'll see if she comes back. And there's Vixen.
That one was my fault. It was a child.
So we're gonna get ready to wrap up. If people want to get a hold of you to book you for events, paracons, how can they get a hold of you?
Vixen Paranormal at gmail.com. Any of the sites, Facebook, TikTok, email. Oh, she's going for her porch spirits.
All right. I thank everybody for joining me. I thank you, Vixen, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime you want to do a part two, just reach out.
Sounds good.
I thank all 13 people for hanging tight with us for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Thank you guys.
And you want to hang backstage for a few minutes, I'll close the show out, and I'll see you in a few. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Everybody stay safe out there, stay humble, and we'll see you again soon.